Okay. That was a pretty awesome episode, I'm not gonna lie. But first of all, like, what the hell was that? Like, first of all, we're over here chilling on our island for the past 3 seasons. You know, fighting titans. And now we're in the middle of this fucking war with these people who don't know who the fuck they are. It's like World War One out there. Like, what the fuck is going on? But, dude, I love it. It's freaking great. You know? I mean, no, manga readers, you know what's up. You know what's going down. But for anime onlys, what did you think? Did that blow your fucking mind or what? Or are you sitting here thinking like, who the hell are these new cats? I want my OG characters. I mean, I guess you got a little bit of the OGs with fucking Reiner and Zeke's bitch asses coming in the episode. But they're a bunch of, they're pussies. We don't give a fuck about them. So, the episode is mostly about these new kids, Falco and Gabby. You know, manga readers know Gabby's a total bitch. Gabby, Udo, and then this other kid, and then their little leader named Colt. So that's actually a really funny name. He's a leader, and his name is Colt. That's hilarious, actually. I wonder if that was done on purpose. But anyways, what they spend the majority of the first part of the episode talking about is how to take over the fort without sacrificing all the Eldians, which the Marleyan scumbags are against, because it's clear as day there's some heavy prejudice here. They don't, which, I mean, we saw in the flashback episodes at the end of season 3, but it's on full display now. And then it's clear as day that it has not changed at all. I mean, you know, you had a stupid, dumb sack of shit, like, oh, basically to the extent, like, we don't give a fuck if they get killed. Like, I mean, first of all, you're wasting actual valuable resources. Let's just forget the fact they're even humans, okay? First of all, you're wasting human lives. Oh, you're terrible, blah, blah, blah. Go suck a fucking dick, you pussy ass bitch. But let's forget that for a second. Let's even forget they're human beings. Let's just think of them as the military pawns that you view them as. You're just throwing 800 useful soldiers at a wall for no reason other than the hope that they can get there and start the train. And what happens if they don't? You're dead. You lose. So it takes this fucking girl named Gabby to come up. And she's Eren in a goddamn nutshell, dude. She's definitely the other side's Eren. I don't mean that in a way to discredit Eren, because Eren is far greater than Gabby will ever be. If you read the manga, you know what I'm talking about. But she is very confident, cocky, brash as hell, and is just ready to throw down at all times, just like fucking Eren. And she's like, well, you know, I could go out there and I could take care of that train for you guys, but if you think that 800 people are more valuable than me, I'd understand. Or no, the other way around. If you think that my little old me is more valuable than 800, I would understand. He's like, alright, fuck it, go. So it's kind of funny. But what she's doing is she goes out there to set a trap on this armored train they have with these anti-Titan cannons on it. So it's really interesting to see that the rest of the world has evolved around ways to take out Titans that does not involve ODM gear. That can actually pierce, as we'll see later, pierce even the armored Titan skin. Like, what? Yeah, we're over here fucking with swords and little fucking Batman grappling hooks swinging around every damn where. They out here with these fucking high-tech fucking cannons and shit. Like, what the fuck's going on, guys? Throw us a bone. Fucking dicks. Really hate the Marleyans. They suck. But yeah. That happens. She's able to blow up the train. And as she's running back, the Jaw Titan, which is what they're arguing about, they didn't want to use the Titan, the Jaw and the Cart Titan, which is the Titans they have in their disposal. They didn't want to use them. So after she blows up that, because they didn't want to get them blown up by the train. So after they get that done, they let loose their Titans, and then the Jaw Titan comes up and saves, oh, what's her face? Gabby. As Falco makes a last-ditch effort. Sorry for the yawning, guys. Makes a last-ditch effort to try and save her. I don't really know what it was he was going to do other than get shot to a trillion pieces. Oh, oh, I love you, Gabby. I mean, it's one of those little moments. But yeah, saves him. But as I skipped over, the whole first portion of this episode is mostly just talked about which of them is going to be the successor to the Armored Titan. Which is an interesting question. Are they foreshadowing Reiner's death? It could be, because he gets pretty... Sorry. He gets pretty, fucked up at the end of the episode. But yeah, are they trying to foreshadow Reiner's gonna die, or is there something else that's involved with these 9 Titans that we don't know about yet? That's gonna be something interesting to see, for sure. But yeah, Gabby pretty much thinks she's going to be the next one in line, and Colt, we find out, is the one to inherit the Beast Titan's powers. So it's like, how did you pass that on? Do they have to die, or can they just transfer their powers when they're ready? Not really explained. We see how Zeke's able to give his powers and how Grisha did it to Eren and everything, but when it happened with Grisha and Eren, Grisha died, if I'm not mistaken. So are they going to have to sacrifice themselves to pass on their powers? And then why would they do that if they're already seasoned warriors? So a lot of questions need to be answered, for sure. But it's off to a really good start, because then we get to see old trash bag Zeke and Reiner flying overhead, and they drop some more soldiers out, and then Zeke turns them into Titans in midair, and they crash into the fort and start destroying it. And then we get to see some of their anti-Titan cannons blowing holes through the Titans, which is a really impressive display of the weaponry they have now. Then Reiner comes down as they transforms into armor, starts fucking shit up. And then there's another armored Titan, I mean not an armored Titan, but another armored train hidden around the fort to start shooting them. And we see the bullets can actually pierce through Reiner's armored flesh. That is impressive. That really shows that they've been doing their research on how to penetrate these guys. But the question to be asked is, how the hell do they know all this shit? Like, we know how our cast knows, because they lived for like 100+ years inside the walls with these Titans. And they eventually figured out ways to create technology to combat them and to kill them. But how does the rest of the world... I mean, obviously, the people that are creating them know how to, but is it just something that's been passed down through the history of the Titans when they were in the regular world, or what? And how do they, how does the rest of the world know how to kill the Titans? Seems like a rather... It's kind of like the Death Star getting blown up. Like, how did the rebels know about it before we got Rogue One, explaining it? It was kind of like a big old mystery. Like, how does the rest of the world know how to destroy these Titans? And not just by the nape of the neck, but how to make armor-piercing rounds. Like, I don't know. Just chalked it up to ingenuity and evolution, I suppose. The evolution of war, as they say, brings out the worst in man. Oh, apologies. But then, right when Reiner gets cornered, he takes out the train, but he's about to get cornered by one of the mounted wall cannons when Galliard, the Jaw Titan, saves him. And then Zeke's bitch ass comes down and says that this is going to end the 4-year war. So, as we find out earlier in the episode, this war has been going on for 4 years. Kind of like, the world wars that we went through. And then Zeke throws his little shells, does his little baseball pitch thing. And then turns out the other ships started shooting back at him with his armor-piercing rounds. And then Reiner steps in front of him and blocks the bullets and takes some huge damage. Not to mention, he's already missing his left arm. He got his whole left arm blown off by one of those rounds, by the way. So these things ain't no joke. And then they just, he jumps in front of the bullets and takes it for Zeke's bitch ass. For some stupid reason, because Zeke's a sack of garbage. But we don't see what happens to him. I doubt Reiner's dead. But they are some serious firepower, so he's definitely wounded pretty severely, I would imagine, at the very least. But then, after that, Zeke is able to make his throw, and he sinks all the battleships. And that's roughly the end of the episode. The one thing that I found interesting was after that, we see them in the regular city, and they talk about how the war has been ended by Marley and them. And we see somebody picking up a newspaper. They don't show his face, and it shows him walking. But he looks really familiar. And I'm thinking, do we have characters inside the enemy stronghold? Like, I mean, obviously we know from the previews and stuff from before the season started that Aaron's over there. We know that we're going overseas and we see Aaron attacking the city and stuff, but we already starting off with our guys infiltrating the enemy camp? That would be freaking insane! Just saying. Like, this is going to be a completely different season of Attack on Titan, but it's going to be really epic. Especially for people who knows what's coming from the manga. But speaking of which, I've got to address the elephant in the room. That is the art and the animation. It's been 4 years. You switch studios to the new high standard Studio Mappa. For the most part, I was very pleased. Character designs were great. The animation was all solid. There was some CG on the armored trains and stuff and the cannons. That's okay. It didn't look bad by any means. It wasn't bad CG. I've seen bad CG. That wasn't bad CG. Even the CG of the cannons on the Cart Titan wasn't terrible. But, if you're not like Studio Sunrise or somebody like that specializes in mecha anime or something, I'm not going to hark you too much on that. But what I had a problem with was CG used on the Armored and Beast Titan, and it wasn't good CG by any stretch of the imagination. The Armored Titan CG wasn't the worst in the world, but the CG on the Beast Titan looked terrible. And that's one of the big concerns people had with Studio Mappa taking over. Is like, hey, they were working on God of High School. They've been working on fucking Jujutsu Kaisen, and it looks immaculate. Every episode of Jujutsu Kaisen be looking sick as fuck. It's pure fire. So, we have high standards, and to come out with CG trash on the Beast and Armored Titan is unacceptable. The rest of the episode, the backgrounds, the paintings, the hand-drawn characters, great. But, Studio Wit, there wasn't much CG used with the Armored and Beast Titans. And in my opinion, Studio Mappa is a far superior studio. So, I have to call that out. I hope that's something that's not going to be prevalent for very long. Maybe it was just a one thing. They had been rushed. They said, hey, we need to get this episode out. We'll see. Because I've seen what they can... I know they weren't the only studio working on God of High School, and that they had a lot of budget help with that. I get it. But we've seen what they've done with Jujutsu Kaisen. if you've seen Jujutsu Kaisen, you've seen what they've done with like Sukuna and Gojo's domain expansions and stuff. They've got what it takes to make some sick ass looking, fucked up, creepy animation. So I'm just gonna chalk it up to saying, hey, maybe they were rushed, they had to get shit out, you know, and hoping that's what it was. But other than that, the episode was fire, 100%. It was hype as hell. But what did you think? Are you digging these new characters, you know, or are you like, hey, fuck it, where's our old cast at, you know? What do you think about the new characters? Do you think they're going to be around a while? Do you think they're going to kind of be like a other side of the same coin kind of deal? Or do you think it's just going to be showing kind of like a building up the enemy, showing their humanity, and then pitting them against one another? How do you think that's going to work out if that's the route they go? Well, just all in general, what do you think about the art, the animation? Are you excited? Do you think that Nappa is doing a better job than Studio Wit? I wasn't digging the intro too much. The ending either, really. I didn't dig either one of them too much, really. If I'm being honest about it. Kind of disappointed with that. But that's just a nitpick. That ain't no big deal. But, you know, what are your opinions on the episode? You know, being thrown straight into the middle of a war after all these years of fighting Titans? Is that a shell shock to you? Pun intended. Or, as a manga reader, if you know what's going on, how did you think it was? Did you think it was well adapted? You know, just drop your comments, your opinions, theories you might have on it. Whatever. Go wild. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next